Welcome and welcome back to Stir Crazy Sailing and Adventures. I'm Dennis. We are single-handing a sailboat from Lake Michigan to the Caribbean, which is
pretty special.
Part of our journey has taken us across the Erie Canal. We've got that behind us, and now we are ready to take on the mighty Hudson River and make our way down to New York Harbor and out into the Atlantic. Thanks again for hopping aboard.
We are at West Point, New York on the Hudson. Yes, that West Point. It's great to have the sails back on the boat. I'll be sailing in a couple of days. Haven't had the sails on since Lake Ontario, and I am itching to sail this tub. My mast made it in one piece. It doesn't look beat up at all. No chafing. It looks like my carpet tape packaging job worked pretty well. Big stick.
The mast and sails are going back on the boat in Catskill, New York at Hop-O-Nose Marina, and Catskill is the legendary home of Rip Van Winkle.
The electrical has entered the building.
Hop-O-Nose uses a tried and true crane that is rumored to have been used during the construction of the Erie Canal back in the 1800s. Nelson is quite a climber.
That's one small step from a mast, one giant leap for mankind.
With the mast on the boat, it was time to then reattach all of the electrical wires for the lights and the equipment on the mast. There was plenty of rigging to reattach to the boat, both the running rigging, the lines, the ropes, as well as the standing rigging, the cables, and those were long days.
Major loggage.
Now, back to navigating the Hudson.
Just heard a thud a moment ago as I was rounding West Point. I don't know if a log hit the hull, hit the keel, or I may have chopped a little chunk off of a log with my crop. I'd rather have the second one. Hit it with the keel, that's okay. But other than that, I don't want to hit anything. I don't want to hit anything anyway, but if I have to hit something with any part of the boat, that's the part. And I'm trying to avoid the biggest logs. They're everywhere. Tons of rain last night, helping me to get out of the Hudson faster. It's countering the tidal current coming in from the Atlantic Ocean. And the wind is helping me too. So I'm making it a long day, making plenty of progress. But wow, there are gigantic logs in the water that have washed in with all of the rain. There were floods here.
The southern part of the Hudson River is less sleepy, and there are definitely more signs of civilization.
What I could really use is a coffee, but you know, where to find one around here? Watervliet, New York. You'd think you'd be able to find a decent place to get a cup of coffee. The old harbor fountain and I were going to approach that bridge ahead of us at about the same time, so I kicked it into neutral and let him pass to convey my clear intentions. I did not want to be in the dredged channel with him at the same time going underneath the bridge and between supports. Yeah, I didn't want to get any closer than that, that's for sure. The landscape along the Hudson is really remarkable. Just high hills, maybe low mountains. I find Suspension Bridge is really majestic. This is the Bear Mountain Bridge on the Hudson River, right next to Bear Mountain State Park. I'm sure one of these mountains either looks like a bear, there's folklore related to a bear, or maybe there are just a lot of bear. I don't know. There's 155 feet of clearance. I only need 62 feet. But these bridges, always, of course, seem lower than what they are. Or my mast seems taller than what it is. The Hudson is looking quite pristine right now, flat and inviting. No real commercial traffic up until now, but that is the George Washington Bridge. We're about ready to start skirting Manhattan, and I think things are about to change. Thanks for joining me. The big buildings, there are enough of them. I'm amazed that Manhattan has not yet sunk underneath the surface of the Hudson River. This is where Sully landed the jet. I think that's the coolest thing about me being on this stretch of the waterway, being here on the Hudson. And a little bit of ferry traffic right now, or tourist traffic, some ferries ahead, but it's been quiet. It's the middle of the day here, so I'm sure it's a lot busier at rush hour. Because I'm a waterway and mountains guy, I've never been here. The size of the city is impressive, and it's cleaner than I thought it would be, and it's quieter than I thought it would be. I've been concerned about making this trip down the Hudson River since before I started, and everything's going just so well. Yeah, I mean, it's a non-event. It's like going down a river in a small town anywhere. It's crazy. And really enjoyable, really enjoyable. This is a huge milestone for me. This is just a minor miracle. I've been worrying about this forever, but it is cool. And seeing the Empire State Building is very cool. Yeah, more traffic, south end of Manhattan, for sure. Ferries and freighters now. And some helicopters. Yeah, it's busy. Maybe this is considered Midtown Manhattan. I have no idea. Probably. Choppy seas. Getting out of the Hudson. Lots of traffic. And some folks are having a really good time. We're only doing 2.9 knots right now, fighting the currents, but in another half hour, the current will switch, the tide will change, and the tide will begin to go out. Right now it's the peak of coming in, so here comes some waves. It is just a choppy ride. The stick is in, the sails are on. And Lady Liberty says we are ready for the Atlantic.
Finally, out in the Atlantic with the sails on was wonderful. The fresh air, the sea breeze, it was just great to get back into action on the deck of the boat. But right around the corner, I was going to be introduced to a level of beauty I never could have expected where I was on this trip. Join me next time for some really wonderful experiences. Share, subscribe, and like. See you next time. Thanks.